What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Then We Eat. I think it's time to do another sausage video. So this week we're going to be making honey garlic sausage. So the first thing we're going to do is mix our spices together. So we have 2 tablespoons of salt, a tablespoon of ground black pepper, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, 6 cloves of garlic, a half a teaspoon of Chipotle chili powder, a teaspoon of sage, a tablespoon of brown sugar. I have 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley. If you're using dried, it's 2 teaspoons. And lastly, 6 tablespoons of honey. So once you've got all that added to the bowl, give her a stir, and then we'll toss it on our meat. Now on to our meat. I have 5 pounds of pork shoulder here. I have gone ahead and chopped it up into cubes about this size. Just makes it easier to grind. And I have left it in the freezer. It's a little bit frozen, but still not totally frozen. Just makes it easier to grind. Let's add our spice mix. It is going to be kind of thick because of the honey, but it will spread or mix around on your meat pretty well. Then just give it a toss. Once you're happy with how it's all mixed, stick it back into the freezer for a few minutes, just long enough to prepare your grinder. Like I said earlier, the longer you can keep it in the freezer and the colder you can keep that meat, the easier it will be to grind. So that's why I say to stick it back in the freezer now. You are going to be a few minutes, it will start to soften and it will get harder to grind up. Alright, so now it's time to grind. As you saw in my last sausage video, if you haven't seen that you can check it out. You just grind it slowly, bits at a time. I start with the big setting, run it through once, then do the little setting, and then usually that's good enough. If you don't like the consistency, you can run it through one of those settings again, and if you find the meat starting to get a little too warm, just stick it back into the freezer for a few minutes, and it will start to grind up much easier. Well, the meat is done. It's been grinded. It's sitting in the grinder behind me here. I've also gone ahead and done up the sausage casing. If you don't know how to do that, you can see a short right up here. It'll show you how to do it, nice and simple. Basically all you're gonna do, wash the inside and the outside, soak it for half an hour, then wash the inside and the outside again. You should be good. So let's go ahead, start stuffing our sausage. I am gonna need some help for this, so Steve's gonna come and help me do that. So, we'll see when we're done stuffing. And there we have it. As you can see, that was very, very simple. I forgot to mention, I did add 5 ounces of water to the meat right before I squeezed it out into the sausage casing, and it made a massive difference. I've done it without, I've done it with. If you add water, it's a lot easier. I would highly, highly recommend it. The other thing I should mention is I did do a taste test before I stuffed the sausage, and I found they weren't quite garlicky or honey enough. So I added 2 more tablespoons of honey and another 2 cloves of garlic. So hopefully that should make it much more like honey garlic sausage. So now all you have to do, just make your sausage. So just find a length that you find to be a good length. Probably about there for us is good. Then just give it a twist. And then you want to just keep trying to match them up as close as you can. It's not going to be perfect because sometimes the casing will kind of dictate where you twist it, but just try to be as close as you can. The other thing you want to make sure of when you're doing this is that you're as gentle as you can. When I say that the casing's going to do the work, part of that is just trying to be really gentle with it because it will break. So if you let it do the work instead of you, it's much less likely that it's going to break on you. And I had one that made itself a little shorter, so I did another short one there. That'll make 2 long ones, so it should work out in the end. So there we go. Like I said, you don't have to be perfectly consistent. You just want to keep them so that when you go to eat them, everyone's getting the same, roughly the same amount of sausage. So what I do now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to freeze these, and then tomorrow I'm going to cut them into 3s because it's 3 people that eat them, and we'll put those in the freezer. And when you go to freeze them, the one thing you do want to try to do is make sure that they're not touching each other. That way, you avoid ripping the skin when you go to break them apart. As you can see, I've gone ahead and cooked up a patty just to find out how they really taste. So let's find out together. Those are really good. The honey really comes out in them. It's very, very good. I would say though that they could use some more garlic still. So I would say in the end you're probably looking at about 12 cloves of garlic for these instead of 6. But otherwise, they're very tasty. That's it for this video. Hit like if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share it with all your friends, and let us know down below. What's your favorite kind of sausage? Or better yet, what kind of sausage would you like to see us make next? Oh, and don't forget, first we cook, then we eat. So good.